Welcome to Tech Confidential's Behind the Money. I'm Mary Kathleen Flynn, and I'm at the EconAds seminar talking with Paula Drum from H&R Block. Paula, I'm very intrigued. I think of H&R Block as a conservative, traditional company, and yet you've launched a big social media campaign. Why don't you just tell us about that?
H&R Block is a very interesting brand because everyone knows who H&R Block is, except for Steve Carell in the office. He doesn't know who we are. But the brand has 99% brand awareness, but people don't necessarily associate us with the attributes that we want to be associated with, which is deep tax expertise. So the social media campaign that we had was, how do we demonstrate that H&R Block has deep tax expertise? How do we also show our digital side? We actually have digital products, and also make the brand more relevant and appear more innovative.
So how did you use social media networks? And you used more than one, I understand.
We've been on this road for 2 years, and it's really been about testing and learning. We tested with YouTube and Second Life, creating our own virtual island in Second Life 2 years ago. And then this last tax season, we expanded that to create our own community around conversations on tax. Went and created a branded character called Truman Green, and he's definitely about edutainment, which he has a YouTube presence and a MySpace page. Created a Facebook page, a community around Facebook, and looked at other ways within the blogosphere that way we can connect with consumers using applications like Twitter.
How do you judge the effectiveness of a campaign like this? How do you know if it worked?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that not taking a one-year view of it. I mean, there's definitely a ton of micro measurements. We've had over 1 million people come to the community site that we have on our own website. We have friends that we can measure. We've got fans that we can measure. We have YouTube video views that we can measure. But the biggest thing is, are we beginning to change the perception of our brand? Are we beginning to really demonstrate expertise? And by having different types of engagement on customers, can we actually retain them at a higher rate? And those are things that are going to be multi-year measures, not individual campaign measures.
So at the moment, you don't know whether or not the campaign was successful at reaching new customers and keeping them in the future.
I would say that we know that the campaigns have been successful based on the micro measurements. What we don't know is what's the impact on the bigger brand measures.
And what about in terms of monetizing it? I mean, how will you know if this has been a success in terms of financial gain?
A lot of it is going to be, how do we look at the impact on the overall brand health? How do we look at being able to understand if these customers are retained at a higher rate? Mm-hmm. A lot of it is still new measurements, and so it's really difficult to get into finitely what is the absolute measure here, because every activity is measured a little bit differently. Every activity has a different impact on a customer, and not every customer is the same. So we could be touching a very high impact influencer who goes and talks about us to 20 people, but that's hard to measure in today's world.
And Paula, before we let you go, what's next for H&R Block in social networking?
I think that what is next is that we're still learning everything. We're still learning how to communicate with customers in the way that they want to be communicated with. Every community is a little bit different. Every customer is a little bit different. And how do we evolve and remain relevant to people in a space where the media and the technologies are changing rapidly? So we're in season 4 months out of the year. We can't project what's going to be the best way to reach customers a year from now with emerging technology. So we just have to continue to test and iterate.
So we'll check back next year at tax time.
Sounds great.
Thanks very much, Paula Drum, and thank you for watching Tech Confidential's Behind the Money. I'm Mary Kathleen Flynn at the EconAds seminar.